November 2017. After 12 months of debate, Australia opened the vote for marriage equality.
For the national result, yes responses, 7 million applicants.
Despite the overall yes vote, 17 electorates in Australia returned a majority no. Out of these 17 electorates, 12 were located in Greater Western Sydney. We asked sexuality and gender diverse, culturally and linguistically diverse people who are living in Western Sydney to share their stories with us.
The constant discussion about the debate, even the positive ones, were emotionally exhausting. It felt like everyone had an opinion on your personal life.
I never really trusted the government, but I just feel disillusioned even more so. Also, I look at, even in the suburb that I live in, and I'm like, I don't trust any one of you. There's a resentment there because I know what you tried to do to me and people like me.
What many people may not have thought about is how the public debate affected families.
The plebiscite sent my family into a moral panic. This led my parents to paranoia, taking extra precaution to police me from the outside world. I was not allowed on social media, had my internet privileges taken away, and they monitored my whereabouts at almost every moment of the day.
Feeling alienated from family or culture, or feeling torn between culture, religion, and tradition in our identity as queer people impacts substantially on our well-being, mental, emotional, and even financial. We cannot rely on families in a way that straight people take for granted, and for those of us from colored backgrounds, we can never feel fully at home in either our heritage culture, nor in Australian society, and even in the Australian queer community.
The material that came out really drove the homophobia in my family. Religious content, false statistics. It was really heartbreaking to see your family in the same sentence say they love you unconditionally, but then say they will never accept your sexuality.
For the first time I showed my parents my vulnerability. I didn't have a choice. It was oozing out, did not cope. And they really looked after me. Some of my cousins had big arguments on my behalf with their parents. My immediate family went really out of their way to support me.
Family and community support is critical to the well-being of sexuality and gender diverse people.
The worst thing about the marriage equality campaign was that there were no services out west and no obvious places for us to turn. We live in the places where the no votes were highest, but the support was focused on the places where the yes vote was sure or on the fence.
I think it's important that we have these services, especially out west, for the LGBT community, because when I was younger and I wanted to find other trans people, there was a group in Bankstown where I grew up that existed, and I was like the only person who came. But through that group, I was able to find things like 2010 or other youth groups that might be a little bit more popular. And I think it's just important for these types of things to exist, and especially when people are still finding themselves when they're still at a very young age.
Services can be inclusive of the LGBTQ community through simple means such as visibly showing the support by registering the location as a safe space. This simple act can turn a service that is neutral towards the LGBT community into an ally.
I think it's very important for services to have some greater awareness and some knowledge and education of understanding the community from the LGBTIQ. There are people out there who are suffering because they're living in shame and because they're not acceptance from their family or from their friends.
As a queer person of colour, I think it's really important for communities to be consulted. I think it's really important when I walk into an organisation and see people of colour as a representation of the organisation. Beyond that though, I think it's really important for professionals to be well trained or well informed in cultural awareness and cultural sensitivities.
Our services that target us and our community absolutely should not underestimate how deep homophobia still runs in Western Sydney. But the community can do a whole lot more to seriously engage with people about their beliefs and about the queer people who walk among them.
Discrimination and family violence are social problems. Every one of us has a role to play in making our communities safe for everyone. These voices are part of a community capacity building project, Home is Where Our Story Begins. To read more and learn about what you can do, visit sayitoutloud.org.au/homeis.